And welcome into a brand new Bleav in Panthers here on Bleav Podcast Networks, brought to you by the fine folks over at Fanduel. Desmond Johnson in the house with the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. Make sure you get those bets in over at Fanduel. Odds are up right now for the NBA playoffs, and you can go check that out right now at sportsbook.fanduel.com. The Carolina Panthers putting in another top draft, Stu, another draft class that a lot of national analysts have rated fairly high, one of the top classes in the NFL. And we're just going to get into it, get to these picks, get you guys a draft recap real quick, and just go over what we thought about the picks themselves. Let's just start off with the number one pick that we had, number 19, Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle out of Georgia. It's kind of funny when it actually happened. I was actually kind of upset. I was like, oh man, you got an offensive tackle. And then I slept on it. I was like, actually, that was probably the best pick they could have did right there at that spot.
Yeah.
Stu, tell us a little bit about Monroe Freeling from what you've seen, and why it was a good pick for Carolina.
I mean, the things that jump out at you is his height, his size. I mean, when you watch him on tape, this guy is a freakishly gifted athlete. He can move, which is going to be good for his own concepts. For the folks that don't understand what this tackle means to run game and zone scheme, it means the world because it creates space. A guy that can move and move in space and get the job done, that means guys like Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks and whoever else toting that rock, they're going to get up out of there. And so, I think, you look back, I think about a guy that stands out the most in the sense of comparison, Jordan Gross. He has potential to be a Jordan Gross type of player, right? Now, he has to, obviously show up and do the job, but, they graded him, very high, as far as, his ability to stay healthy throughout his time at Georgia. That's a hard task. I mean, he's playing against the cream of the crop every week in the trenches. And to come out unscathed means he's capable of moving his body well. He's capable of playing with great technique and all those types of things that keeps him out of danger. And so you look at that position, Desmond, with Icky getting hurt. I'm not saying that Icky's done, what I'm saying? But what this does mean, it means that Icky, when he does get back, I think he's gonna find himself at depth at the guard position. And what that does, it should give Icky, the mindset of, okay, I don't have to rush back. I can just get better and get stronger, whatever it is, and be prepared to come back and service, the team where they need me. Because obviously they've drafted this homeboy here to be the starter.
Yeah, I think ultimately that too. Plus, again, I slept on it and woke up the next morning and started thinking about it. One of the things that Dave Canales said that the reason why they liked him so much, he was I think he was their highest rated tackle on their draft board, and he was still sitting there at 19. Taylor Morton's 31. He's in the next to last year of his current deal with the Panthers, our right tackle and vet in that room. And then the thing that I started realizing with Icky, they've been very vague about the timeline for when Icky might return. It's like 6 to 12 months. That's a long 6 to 12 months. That's a long stretch to kind of not know when a player might be available. And I know they just gave Icky his 5th-year extension really right before the injury. But to be honest, it feels like the way they've answered questions about Icky and whatever may be happening in terms of his progress, this was kind of an insurance pick for either side, because one of the things they did say about Freeling said he can play both left and right tackle, and that's one of the things they value up and down the line, that they can play multiple positions. So the fact that they got him there, he only had 17 starts at Georgia, and his strength is run blocking, his strength is pass blocking as opposed to the run blocking. But that's something our offensive line coach is like one of the best in the NFL. So I feel like they can coach him up and get him there for that. So,
but when you talk about the numbers, right? He's 6'7". He's long, right?
6'7", 315.
315, 34-inch wings arm, right? But 4'9", 40. A 171 10-yard split. 6'7", 315.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
4'9", 40.
That's a big boy.
That means he is going with the right development, with the right coaching. I'm excited to see him in this run game. Yeah, pass. We going to protect the quarterback, But when we talk about what the Cowboys, think about the Cowboys. Remember when they was with Ezekiel Elliott? They had offensive linemen that could run.
Yeah. Best in the
Okay.
game. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have guys that can run and that can reach and finish guys downfield. And that showed up on tape for me. And when I saw that, that's good enough for me.
The Panthers, I Bleav, have the most expensive offensive line in the game right now in the entire NFL, and they keep adding to it. So Dan Morgan, he said he wanted to build in the trenches, and he did that starting off with pick number 1 at 19. And then in the second round, they went to the other side in the trenches and drafted defensive tackle Lee Hunter, 6'3", 318 pounds from Texas Tech. Good second-team All-American, known as a run stopper. And I realized when they did that, to pair him beside Derek Brown in the interior of Ejiro Evero's defense, one of the things we still reacted to last year was the fact that teams were still kind of able to run up the middle, especially when Brown was out in the rotation or whatnot. They still kind of attacked the middle of that line. With Hunter coming in now from Texas Tech, should be pretty good rotation with him. Bobby Brown, the third, is still here. And of course, Derek Brown. Thoughts on the Hunter pick in the second round for Carolina? It was the 17th pick of the second round. I think they traded up too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, disruptive, right? 6'3", 318 pounds. Solid. But more importantly, I saw him against our Oregon Ducks, and he was causing havoc. And so, he had at least 2 tackles for a loss. Definitely had probably like 7 to 8 tackles. He was active at the line of scrimmage, and that's what you want, right? You want somebody that can be, a force of nature, right? Has a good run stop, 2-gap presence. A guy that can, not just fill the gaps, but also have nimble feet to make a play, right? Not just to be there as a stalemate. I want you to be active, get to the ball, right? So you have to have good feet in the trenches. And so I think about guys. I'm in this comparison mode right now. As far as the fans go, if you can think about Star Latuliele, I can't even Star or defensive tackle.
Latuliele.
I can't think of his last name. I know Star, but I play with Star, and he came in with KK. And when you have 2 guys that are run stoppers, but also have great feet, but are willing and able to do their job every single play, you got yourself a great situation at the defensive line, which opens things up for the linebackers. And we needed this because of A'Shawn Robinson departure. We needed somebody to come in and fulfill that depth, but also not just a spot, a guy that can actually come in and be a presence and make an impact. And so, I mean, this is a guy, that's going to get some sacks. He's going to get the tackle for a loss and be able to, be a great partner in crime for Derek Brown. I mean, I'm not scared, but defense or offenses should be scared in the NFC, especially since we get to see guys twice, right? You take a young guy like that, you might give him the first game. That second game, he's going to have it figured out.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they doubled down on both the offensive and defensive line early in the draft, showing Dan Morgan believes what Dan Morgan's saying. Now, again, smoke screens, because we thought, wide receiver or some kind of position to help out with Bryce would help. And actually kind of both of these do kind of help Bryce. The offensive tackle that he can shift to either side might be his left tackle for the next 10 years. And then a defensive tackle that'll help stop the run, which helps Bryce in the offense too. So, I saw the design for what they were trying to do. The third pick, though, might be my favorite pick out of what they did. Chris Brazzell, the second from Tennessee, wide receiver, 6'4", 198 pounds. This was kind of to take the top off the defense kind of guy. His branch routes are kind of limited in terms of what he can run. But again, Dave Canales is a former wide receiver coach. Like, it seems like he has a type because he's kind of built similar in frame to Ted McMillan, just a little smaller in terms of weight, but like height. Like, he kind of, I guess he wants these long, rangy, shifty kind of wide receivers that can kind of have a wider catch radius and can get open in smaller space. He had first team all SEC honors last season, 62 receptions, 1,017 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, good acceleration off the line of scrimmage, long strides to eat up a defensive back's cushion. Sounds like Ted McMillan's write up from last year, kind of. What I wanted to ask for, well, first we'll get into the wide receiver himself. 4.37 40 speed for this guy. So ultimately, he becomes one of the fastest guys in the wide receiver room off the bat. Thoughts on Chris Brazzell, the second pick in the third round from Tennessee? Wait, your mic's muted. Hold on. Oh, it says you muted.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, we're back.
Okay.
Look, 4.37. You said it. He's fast as all get out, right? Like, this is something that I don't think people are ready to comprehend, right? He ain't Ted Ginn fast, but he doggone close, okay? And the brother is 6'4", okay? Now, that kind of receiver for Bryce Young, Bryce Young is going to be able to just throw the ball up at some point, right? Go back to the Jake Delhomme days with Smitty. Smitty was playing like a 6'4" receiver at however tall he is, 5'10", 5'11", right?
Yeah.
And if that, right? And so you're going to have opportunities for the deep ball, play action, deep ball, play action. That's what we're hoping for with Xavier Legette. And obviously, it's still, the verdict's still up there as far as what they're going to do with him and his opportunities. But you bring a guy in here, you're basically sending a message. Okay, we trying to go deep. We trying to hit this post corner. We trying to hit this deep ball with the seam, with the post coming across. You're trying to get creative with your route tree. And when you have a guy that can take the top off, that safety is going to have to follow. Okay, and when you get that safety out of there, it's an easy pass. It becomes 7-on-7 nature for a quarterback. So Bryce is going to be able to spin it, however he wants to. I mean, you got T-Mac, you got Coker, they all 6'4", man. I look at guys in the NFC South right now. I'm looking at Atlanta, right? Atlanta got a guy named Mike Hughes. He's 5'10". 5'10", brother. How you gonna cover 6'4" every play? No matter what. Both of these, all three of them coming out 6'4", 6'3" at the least.
Yeah. Coker's like 6'3",
right?
yeah.
So 5'10", mismatch. AJ Terrell, Atlanta, 6'1", mismatch, in my opinion. They still good players, but as far as that height, if we start getting that rhythm and that routine of throwing that ball where only the receiver can get it at 6'4", come on now.
Let me
McKinstry.
Kool-Aid.
He's 5'11".
Yeah.
Alontae Taylor, 6 foot. All these guys are under 6'4", and they're gonna have to see us every single time.
Let me address the elephant in the room, because with this pick, what do you think happens to Xavier Legette? Because it feels like every analysis I've saw of this pick, they automatically just pencil in Brazzell as like the wide receiver 3. And I'm like, well, what about the dude we traded up for the first round 2 years ago in XL? Like, what if you're XL, what are you thinking when you're seeing all this moves? And then plus they've signed 2 former Alabama wide receivers in free agency before and after the draft. I saw they just signed one, I think yesterday. I can't remember his name. He was a freshman when Bryce was a senior at Alabama. What is this? This is a crowded wide receiver room right now. Like, what do you think XL needs to be thinking right now to stay in this rotation?
Get better?
Yeah.
As he's been doing. I mean, look, you can't fault a guy for, where he is in his craft and his experience at playing receiver too. Coming out of college, he didn't have a lot of experience. So there's still a learning curve for him. Unfortunately, this game does not wait for you to learn. And hopefully this becomes a year where things just click and you make the decision harder for the coaching staff. You drafted a guy and now I'm performing, right? That's basically what you want to put that coaching staff in a predicament. You want to make sure that you make them make the hard decision, right? Because at the end of the day, that goes for Brazzell, goes for anybody in that receiver room. your tape is for the NFL, right? It's not just for the Carolina Panthers. It's for the whole entire NFL. But for Xavier Legette, he has to be able to come out and show some growth exponentially. Whether it's with his route tree, with his awareness, separation, all those types of things, right? So we know he's got the tools in the shed. We just got to see him put it all together.
This will be a make or break year for XL to kind of show what he can do. I think the drops last year maybe made some folks kind of look at him a little differently, but he'll have some opportunity. But now he's got some stuff, some people breathing down his neck. Also, I thought about Jimmy Horn. You draft a guy like this, and Brazzell, he's basically an updated, taller version of Jimmy Horn. And I don't know if Jimmy's going to make the roster this year, to be honest, with the amount of wide receivers in that room.
If I'm the coaching staff, Jimmy Horn is on the roster.
I would think so too. But I mean, you brought in so many.
You got David Moore.
Yeah, David Moore's
Jimmy
back.
Horn.
Yep, Jimmy Horn.
You got. I know you got at least 5 guys that. You got probably 6. Man, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe more than that. Like I said, they just signed
because you got Mechie.
Yeah, Mechie. Yeah, Mechie was the one they signed before the draft, and they signed somebody yesterday.
Free agency, and a lot of these guys,
like
later in the draft, in the free agency, these are guys that are going to come in and show what they got on. Show what they got. You never know what you miss with these drafts, and so you get these guys in. And they can be practice squad guys. Who knows what the goal is with the certain free agents. But the goal is to obviously develop them, right?
Yeah.
You see some potential, you develop. You say we're going to keep you on to develop you to be the best player that we could possibly get out of you. But I look at Mechie. I look at Moore. I look at T-Mac. I look at Coker, Brazzell. Who am I missing?
You said Moore. Tet, of course. XL. Coker. Who's the one dude that played in the playoff game last year? Is that him, Lewis? He's got what's his name? Tall guy.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
We might as well just let me pull this roster.
Yeah.
David Moore.
Jalen
Coker. Jimmy Horn. T-Mac. XL. Bryson Tremaine. Mechie. Yeah. So, I mean, we got guys that we can go into this offseason and be very confident in saying, hey, this is a solid receiving core. A lot of guys that can do a lot of things. And for the people that are sitting on the couch, like us, be excited because Bryce Young has some guys to throw to and easy targets as well. I think that's kind of the design there, because Bryce kind of has that ball that kind of comes out a little high. And that's perfect for a 6'4" guy to go get it.
And plus, add on, they've made such a concentrated effort to get the protection in front of Bryce. I know a lot of people wanted us to go wide receiver in round 1 again. And to me, I was starting to think, when I woke up the next day, I was like, what good is it to have, 5 good wide receivers if Bryce is on the ground like 2 seconds after he hikes the ball?
Man, you was open, but I was on my back.
Yeah, on his backside. So what difference does it make? So I understand the logic of them trying to keep him protected and to try to keep the ball out of the other team's hands to get it back to Bryce. So there was a concentrated strategy, it felt like, when they were doing here. The 4th round, we'll speed up a little bit here. 4th round, they go defense again and pick up Wheatley III, cornerback out of Texas A&M. Ranked 12th overall at his position. 105 overall. They got him at pick 29 of the 4th round, so good value there. Once you get to like the 4th round, you're kind of looking more at depth than anything else, except for certain positions. And we'll get, especially in the 5th round. I got starter in the 5th round here. Wheatley III, 6'1", 189. Good breaking up passes. He doesn't have great top speed, but he's long. He kind of fits the model of Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, other guys they have back there that are like long, lengthy 6'1", 6'2" kind of cornerbacks. Like you were saying, some of the other cornerbacks around the division are shorter than 6 foot. Carolina's cornerbacks are not. They're all kind of almost like Legion of Boom,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And it's, coincidence Dave Canales and Dan Morgan both worked at Seattle and helped build the Legion of Boom, or were there while it was being created. So feels like they're kind of building the secondary in that same vein. Quick thoughts on Will Lee the third, if any, the 4th round selection.
You know what they called him? They called him the blanket.
Really, that's his nickname. Hey, that's not a bad nickname for a cornerback to have. That's a
All
perfect nickname.
right.
That's
So,
great.
and when you a blanket, when you make your bed, you throw the blanket in the air to spread across the whole bed. That's basically what he do. My man's got a 42-inch vertical, which means he's explosive. So I look at a guy like this, Fiesta Bowl defensive MVP. So he showed out in big game when it mattered the most. But I think this is a guy that you take a year just to develop. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect him to be a guy that needs to come in and play immediately. You have guys already on that defense that have shown that they could, fulfill the roles and the duties. I see him as a nickel at best for his first year, a guy that can come in and be a willing and able tackler, but also to drop back there and be a part of some kind of scheme as far as coverage. But this guy is a ball hawk. This is somebody that I think you look at what they're trying to achieve here. You're trying to I look at that Rams game, right? You're noticing cracks within the coverages. You're noticing, hey, can we cover space? Can we get to the ball in time? Can we trick the quarterback into the things that we do defensively as far as showing pressure and look and stuff like that? And if you have a guy that is known for being a blanket, it's going to make a quarterback think twice.
And people are like, well, we already had 2 cornerbacks. We already have Mike Jackson. We already have J.C. Horn. Why are they drafting a cornerback? You always need depth. And J.C. Horn has a little bit of injury history, had concussion last year, has had other ailments throughout his career. So you want to make sure you have some depth behind it. And this is the thing that me and you have talked about, Stu, the past couple of years in particular. It's not the starters per se for Carolina. It's what's right behind them, second string, third string, that depth. They didn't have a lot of depth. So when somebody went out, which inevitably everybody does eventually, and in football, eventually you're going to get hurt and you're going to miss some time. The Panthers just seemed like they had a severe drop off of what was behind whatever their starter was. And the past 2 years in particular in the draft and free agency, it feels like they've took steps to try to remedy that and get deeper on the back end with some of these positions here. So you get Lee
And
at cornerback.
let me correct myself there also too. I was thinking of Zaki Wheatley was the Fiesta Bowl MVP,
Which
defensive MVP.
surprised we went and picked up in the 5th round. So
Yeah,
as we get into the 5th, one of my other favorite picks was Sam Hecht. I think I'm saying it right. Sam Hecht from Kansas State.
Hecht.
Hecht.
Yeah,
From
Hecht.
the center,
Sam Hecht.
6'4", 303 pounds from Kansas State. Pretty light on his feet, skilled enough to pull, get out on the edge. Good job getting to the second level. Solid player, gets the job done. To get a guy like this in the 5th round, when we lost Cade Mays to free agency here a couple months back, I think Hecht is in the running. I know they signed a center at free agency, and he'll be in contention with him, but there's a really good chance that this guy that we drafted in the 5th round could be our starting center opening day. And if he's in there as opening center opening day, it could be the guy hiking the ball to Bryce Young for the next 8-9 years. Getting that kind of value in the 5th round. I think a lot of people.
When's the last time we've drafted a center?
Whew, that's a good question. I don't know.
Well,
It's been a while.
I don't know, but only one I can think of right now is my good friend, my good buddy, Ryan Khalil. And Ryan,
Actually, that might have been the last one. And that would have been.
I don't know.
He was like a second round pick too.
Somebody correct us in our DMs.
Yeah, because I want to say, yeah, you actually might be right, and that would have been what 2008, 9, 10, somewhere in there, I think. So
yeah, it was 2007.
2007, yeah. So, and look what happened after that. You guys set rushing records with you and D. Will, with him entrenched at the center, and it kind of calmed down the quarterback position too. With Jake back there, and then especially when Cam got back there, to have a center that's experienced and can calm the line down. I love this pick, especially where they
The
got him.
last time that we drafted a center was round 2, pick 59 from USC, Ryan
Ryan Khalil.
Khalil.
Yep. So wow. So that might turn. So keep an eye out for that. I know we don't really mention offensive linemen's names a lot, and usually if we do, it's in a bad sense if you're mentioning their name. But that guy could
Yeah,
be.
giving up sacks. He ain't give up nothing though, right? Like, he was out there balling.
I think.
3-year walk-on at that. I
I,
mean, this guy has a story to him.
yeah, he walk on, built himself up to one of the best centers in the country. And one thing I think I
Gained
saw
30
yesterday,
pounds.
gained 30 pounds. And one thing I saw, did not have a single penalty called on him his entire college career, like
Yeah.
ever. So like no holding, no nothing, like just didn't have a single
And
penalty.
he's smart, Desmond. You
Mhm.
know, as a center, you got to be able to know what's going on, right? This man majored in construction science and management, academic Heisman semifinalist. All right, yeah, that boy, the smarts is there,
The smarts are there.
technique is there,
Yep.
right? My man, and he ran a 4.6.
Yeah, at center.
That boy ran a 4.6
Center.
40
Yeah.
at center. Boy, what?
So he's gonna be out blocking cornerbacks. Like
What I tell you, listen, everybody, listen. The run game about to be special.
yeah, I think so.
You
Like
got
they
a
really
4.6 guy that's about to be pulling out there
the
and
center.
saying, and a guy that gonna get upfield on you.
The
Like,
center. Yeah, nuts. And then now, real quick before we get out of here, the pick six. Well, they traded back up into the 5th and drafted Zaki Wheatley, safety from Penn State. Shows up a lot around football and film, puts himself in position to make plays. This felt like this was a depth pick too. I know people wanted them to go safety a lot earlier than what they actually did. And I was kind of like, well, we got Lathan Ransom last year, and he started to flash a lot towards the end of the year. I kind of see more from Lathan Ransom before they go and get another safety. This guy seems more like a depth pick, which you'll start to get in the 5th round. But they did trade up for him, so they do see some potential there for him to grow into something. And then the 7th pick was Jackson Kuwatch, linebacker from Miami of Ohio. Surprised that they didn't really go at linebacker in this draft, because I know we've talked about it a lot, but based off of what Dan did in free agency, looking at it in hindsight now and looking at the whole list, maybe they didn't feel like they needed to go after linebacker in the draft after what they did, pulling in the top edge rusher and the top linebacker ranked in the free agency period. Were you surprised that Dan didn't pull the trigger on a linebacker early?
Hindsight, I think we were all surprised at the draft. I mean, I think everybody's draft board had everything but what we actually got. But it just goes to show you it's above our pay grade.
Yeah. This is why we do this, and this is why Dan does the general manager role.
Yeah.
I guess
I
he
mean,
knows more about football.
they do this all year long, right? They study guys. They know their background, they know their family lifestyle, they know their personalities. They do deep research because it's an investment for this organization, for the Carolinas, right? Representation in the NFL. So, I look at Zaki Wheatley, and I feel like this is probably I think this is I'm gonna say this now. I think this is gonna go down as one of the best picks
The
in
Wheatley,
Carolina Panthers
Wheatley
history.
pick.
Yeah. You talk about a guy that actually had a 3rd round grade. He was supposed to get drafted and picked up in the 3rd round. We got him in round 5. Okay? That's a steal.
Yeah.
Okay? So I mean, this is a guy that obviously has an opportunity to not have the pressure to go out there and just go out and play. He's going to have an opportunity to be developed into a guy that is also going to be a blanket. I know for a fact going into this offseason, Dan Morgan, he shared with me a little bit, what he was wanting to do. He wanted to get a linebacker. He wanted to get a safety. All right. I think Zaki Wheatley is a guy that is going to be a project that actually becomes fruitful. Just the way he plays on film, he's a guy that's a ball hawk. And you think about what we as an organization need most is turnovers. We need those safety turnovers. The corners last year were getting all the picks. Okay. Getting all the picks. We need a safety that's also going to be a threat, right? We need a safety that's going to be able to cover parts of the field that that have been, not necessarily protected as much, right? And the last several years from that position, the guy that can stretch the field, the guy that, again, when a quarterback looks at coverage, he sees this number, he sees this guy's stature, he sees his wingspan, and he thinks to himself, "Man, I don't want to chance this." Right? You hold it for a split second, and that's when Nick Scorton and company get to the quarterback.
If all this comes together, if all this cooking that Dan did through free agency and the draft, again, a masterclass to me. But I mean, I thought last year's class was really, really good, and they may very well
Yeah,
go down
this
as one of
is
the best classes that we've ever had. This class,
now this
really
might
good.
be the best class that we ever had. I mean, you talk about Zaki Wheatley, and that's a fifth round pick.
Yeah.
He's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a future. Sam Hecht will be a starter in probably 2 years
Mm-hmm.
or within 2 years. Will Lee. This is a guy that, you know, given the opportunity, he can make a name for himself. If you was called the blanket in college, we need you to be a blanket in the NFL. Brazzell. If Bryce Young can find you,
He's got potential. Yeah.
you gonna be somebody. Okay. And obviously receivers, it's gonna be a connection thing with the quarterback, right? Who does the quarterback feel comfortable throwing to? Lee Hunter. I think this is a staple, man. I think this is a DNA guy. I think this is a keep pounding Carolina Panther guy
Maybe a day one
that,
starter. Yeah.
I think he exactly a day one starter guy. And then obviously Freeling, he has a chance to carry on, the left tackle, the right tackle, whatever tackle position he ends up playing, um, for the long term. He's going to be able to carry on the Carolina legacy of what it means to protect the quarterback and to create rushing lanes for the running backs.
Real quick before we get out of here, quick message from Fanduel. If you've been keeping up with the NBA playoffs, I'm watching old man LeBron try to keep his thing going. They let one go yesterday against Houston. It's a 3-1 series now. The Lakers are going to try to close it out on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. You can go in and make bets on it right now. The Lakers are favored by 3.5 as it stands right now. The over-under is 208.5 points. I
Yeah.
don't know if Kevin Durant's only played one game in the series, so I don't know if he's going to be even available. But you can bet on things like the first basket, the first to score 5+ points, 10+ points, 20+ points, number of threes made, rebounds, assists. There's all kinds of stuff you can do here, and you can actually build a same game parlay off of a number of these in here and make some money. So go over to FanDuel. It's sportsbook.fanduel.com. You can bet on the Rockets at the Lakers. And again, the Lakers are favored by 3.5 in that matchup on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, along with the other NBA games that are in progress in the playoffs. So go over to FanDuel and take care of that. We should be back next week. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing, but we'll see what the Panthers have done from that point on. With one of the things that Dan Morgan's excelled in the past 2 off seasons as well are free agency signings after the draft. That's how we got Jalen Coker last year. So we're going to look at what he did this year after the dust settles from that.
Any other 2 years ago,
yeah, 2 years ago, yeah. So we'll take a look at that. Anything that bubbles up from there. Be back probably around about this time next week. But as we start to wind down our season, shout out to everybody that's checked in with us this year. It was probably our biggest year to date. We went to 2 episodes a week, doing the recaps on Sundays live, which was huge. Shout out to Bleav for helping making that happen on their YouTube channel. And just shout out to the fans. Shout out to the Panther Nation. We had a ride this year in terms of, especially the way it ended, that last week of the season leading up to the playoff game. The city of Charlotte and Uptown in particular was just lit. Like, it was just, it felt good to finally be back at a place like that where we were all like celebrating the Panthers instead of all gathering around to complain about the Panthers. And now that we're finally here in a positive offseason, this is the most positive offseason I can think of since maybe the 2014-15 season, just going into it like, oh, what could be? They're finally starting to get some stuff together. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll be back next week, though, so make sure you check us out for a brand new Bleav in Panthers brought to you by FanDuel. From Jonathan Stewart, and this is Desmond Johnson. Keep pounding, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.